What's up, A to Z Sports on a Tuesday? Man, this is going to be a doozy of a show. A lot of great topics to talk through today as Will Levis drops a new commercial featuring mayonnaise fragrance. Zach Bingham throws up in his mouth, and we're going to play it on the show. We're going to react to it here on the show, and we'll see where this thing's going to go. It's definitely an interesting one, but going to talk about Will Levis, going to talk about position battles that are heating up after the first preseason game, and we'll stock up, stock down action. I don't know if this perfume commercial, which it's called perfume. I know it's cologne for men, but it says in the commercial it's perfume. I don't know if that's a stock up or stock down thing for Will Levis, but we'll talk about that maybe a little bit. And then throwing shade. Jack, I've got shade locked and loaded. Very, very passionate about the shade that I have at the end of this show on this Tuesday. So welcome in. The preseason game reaction continues on this Tuesday morning. What's up, Jack? Let's get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here on Tuesday. A lot to get to today. Obviously, even more to get to after this morning's commercial from Will Levis, which is hilarious in my opinion. But while you guys are filing in, please help us out and like the show. Drop a thumbs up if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, please, if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy hanging out with us every weekday morning on A to Z Sports. If you're watching on Facebook, please share the show to at least one of your Titans Facebook groups. It helps us bring more fans in. It helps us reach new audience members, and it helps A to Z Sports grow the show. All that stuff is great for the company, and you guys can help us by sharing the show to at least one of your Facebook groups. If you're watching on YouTube, please tap that bell icon and turn your notifications on so you don't miss an update. Every time A to Z Sports goes live, post any Titans content to the YouTube channel, you want to consume it. And right now, a lot's going on. Tons of guys on this roster. Who's going to make it? How are these position battles going to shake out? Obviously, a lot to react to from this preseason game. So turn your notifications on YouTube so you don't miss out on an update. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link around to your Titans text groups, whether you're at work, you're getting ready for work, you're getting ready to get off work, send it to a coworker. Maybe they're dragging this morning, getting ready for work, or you're already in the office. You look over in the cubicle next to you, guy's half asleep. Send him the show. We'll wake him up. We'll talk Titans this morning. So, Austin, with all that said, let's get the show on the road.
Yep, let's officially welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Jack Gentry, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors because they make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. WilsonCountyHyundai.com is where to go to make them a part of your new car buying process. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans and get a quote today by using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. So we've got a busy, active morning because we had this great show plan where we're talking about Titans position battles that are heating up and stock up, stock down players from on the roster from this past weekend's preseason game debut. We're still going to do all that stuff, and we're going to throw shade at the end of the show, but Will Levis threw us a curveball. He kind of gave us a heads up. This was going to happen last week with a little preview tease, but we got the whole thing this morning, and I don't know what to make out of this, but let's just go ahead and let it roll of the newest Will Levis commercial with Hellman's in his the mayo bit continues, but here is the 40-second commercial that dropped bright and early this morning.
They try to define you, but you are the ingredient to your own success. Luscious, eggy, smell like greatness. Will Levis, number 8, Parfum de Mayonnaise.
Jack, people are saying this is the most sexual video that Will Levis has had come out all summer long.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
and look, this mayonnaise perfume is real. You can buy it. I bought 2. So I don't know how we're going to use it, but I got 2. And apparently there's a limited daily selection available. And so A to Z Sports has 2 of these. Perfume de mayonnaise. And I don't know if you want one and then we'll give away the other. I don't know how you want to go about this, but I got 2 for flexibility. I'm not keeping either of the 2. So we will come up creatively with a bit, but I do want to react to any thoughts that you might have right now.
I'd love one. Hell, I'd like 2 of them. I mean, I love it. Will Levis is funny, man. I mean, like, for a lot of people that thought the Mayo stuff was weird coming out of college, obviously he's leaned into it. And I mean, it's hard not to like the guy. He's got a great personality off the field. And I mean, leaning into the Mayo bit's really funny to me. And look, I mean, like, there aren't I don't know. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL who would do something like this, and that's what makes Will Levis fun for me. Look, that's my quarterback. I'm going to support him no matter what he does. If he wants to make Mayo perfume, that's fine. I want it though, just so I can sell it when it's maybe 10 times the price it once was. Can you imagine what this Will Levis mayonnaise perfume would sell for once he makes the Hall of Fame? I mean, come on now.
I don't know, but I will say for those that are asking where to buy it, I just dropped the link in both Facebook and YouTube chat. And so I'm going to work on pinning the links here so you guys can go buy it yourself, because in the article that we posted this morning, you can go buy it. So again, it's limited. It's only $8. So it's not like it's breaking any bank by any means. So you guys can take advantage of that. So I bought 2 for the company. So let me go to make sure that I can go ahead and pin this comment for anybody that wants to be able to purchase said perfume. But Jack, do you want to head to the chat and to see what people are saying here about all this?
J-Rome says, does it actually smell like mayonnaise? You know, you might not want to wear it to a wedding. But I'll tell you what, Will Levis is making up for being the first pick in the second round. He's getting first round money from
Jack,
helmets.
Do you want me to read the description of the actual cologne, the perfume de mayonnaise? You want me to read it? Because I have it right here.
Give it to me.
Fragrance notes. Tart lemon. The fragrance opens with a bright, zesty burst of tart lemon that provides a refreshing and clean introduction, followed by mayonnaise accord. At the heart of the fragrance lies a daring mayonnaise accord. The creamy and slightly tangy note adds an unexpected twist, mirroring Will Levis's bold personality. The mayonnaise accord provides a rich, smooth texture to the fragrance, making it intriguingly complex and memorable. Not memorable, that's for damn sure. Parsley. Complementing the mayonnaise, a whisper of parsley adds a fresh herbal element to the scent's heart. The green aromatic quality of the herb enhances the fragrance with a natural earthy tone reminiscent of a well-prepared dish. It keeps on going. Coffee undertones, keeping with the Will Levis theme. This fragrance would not be complete without these subtle coffee undertones reminiscent of Will's signature mayonnaise-infused brew. The coffee note brings a robust, slightly bitter edge filled with depth and warmth. It adds comforting, familiar touch, grounding the fragrance in a sense of reliability and strength. It says musk, essential musk base weaves through the composition, providing a soft, lingering allure. This classic note evokes the physicality of an athlete, leaving the lasting impression that is both powerful and sophisticated. And creamy vanilla. The fragrance is rounded out with creamy vanilla, adding a sweet, comforting finish. This note balances the tartness of the lemon and the creaminess of the mayonnaise, creating a harmonious blend that is both inviting and intriguing. Woo! All right. So I will say, I'm not the biggest mayonnaise fan, but when I'm using mayonnaise, a little squeeze of lemon and also a little bit of parsley on there is a good way to go with mayonnaise. But my God, this is something.
Roger says he's going to smell like a walking salad. Dimitri says, if it's at the Wilson County Fair, he's in. He's going to take one. We talked about this with Mike Herndon on the Tighten Up podcast a couple weeks ago. Like, obviously, there's still questions for Will Levis to answer as a player, right? As a starter, like, you want to figure out your answer on Will Levis this season. But if he hits, and if he turns out to be, a top 10 caliber quarterback, he's going to be a superstar just with the way he handles the media and his personality online and stuff like that. Like, he is going to be an extremely well-liked superstar if he hits as a player. I love it. I love that he kind of goes out there and does his own thing. I mean, it's totally off the wall, but you got to have something as a quarterback, and it's way better than darkness retreats if you're Aaron Rodgers or disappearing during training camp. So, look, I'm all in on Will Levis. I love this commercial. It just adds to his lore. And I saw Big Jeff said it takes away aura points. I think it adds aura points. I love
it. I mean, it's real. Like, you can buy it. And that's the crazy thing. And so Jared says, where is the Tighten Up podcast? The Tighten Up podcast is the great thing is you guys are probably recording this afternoon like you do each and every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. And you've got gold, because if there's ever been a Tighten Up podcast like topic, this is it. The starting quarterback in the NFL dropping a mayonnaise themed cologne is right up the alley of Austin Huff and Jack Gentry. So that'll be out at midnight tonight, hopefully I just can't wait for how Austin Huff is going to spoof this thing. It's
going to be crazy. Deshaun says it's already out of stock, probably because Darren, Titans Kyle, and more have already bought some this morning. Steven confirming it says sold out. So Titans fans have scooped that stuff up pretty quickly, and I'm waiting for reviews. Whoever gets it first, let's get a mayonnaise cologne review, just so we know what we're all getting into.
It's already sold out, which is absolutely wild. And congrats to Will Levis for that already being sold out. But hey, that's why I got two. It says limit one per purchase, but you could do more. I did two. So, I mean, I got charged for two, $16. So I better get two, even though it was a limit one. So shout out to Will Levis. It's already out of stock, but I'm glad we got to jump on that. So, all right, now let's get to the real stuff here. And because, dude Ryan's on YouTube's like, oh, let's talk about real football. Let's talk about the team. Yeah. So I'm sorry that we spent 9 minutes of our day talking about the crazy mayonnaise-themed cologne that your starting quarterback just dropped. But yeah, we will get on to the real football conversation. We'll do it now. But first, before we dive into some position battles that heat up, we've got some stuff to talk about too. We got some things to sell, just like Will Levis does, and that is brand new countertops. If you want to update your kitchen or bath countertops, call The Pros in the state of Tennessee. That's Smoky Mountain Tops, family owned and operated for over 30 years. You've seen their work in Bridgestone Arena and also in Neyland Stadium. Smoky Mountain Tops would love the opportunity to earn your business. Smoky Mountain Tops is proud to offer the luxurious Handstone Epimeo quartz collection as seen in both Nashville and Knoxville studios. Handstone Quartz is known for exceptional and quality design with over 50 colors and unique patterns to draw your inspiration from. So call Smoky Mountain Tops to schedule an appointment and see the beautiful Handstone Epimeo Quartz. Their phone number, it's on the graphic on the screen, 615-922-6539. You can also email Christy. Her email is right there on the screen. Tell them you heard them about on A to Z Sports and go to SmokyMountainTops.com. So Jack, going to dive into some positional battles that are, if we can, there's only one way to make the transition from mayonnaise cologne to positional battles in training camp, and that is just rip the Band-Aid off. So positional battles in Titans camp. So we're going to go ahead and ask this question. So Jack, if you want to drop that in the chat for the people to respond to, what position battle are you most interested in at this point in the preseason? What position battle are you most interested in at this point in the preseason? Because I think a couple of them have really amped up and get extra juiced up. And Sam wrote an article yesterday about these. And the first one he listed, Jack, was the returners / slot receiver because of the performance of Jaquan Jackson and Kiaris Jackson in the return game. So Sam wrote this on A to Z Sports yesterday. The first 5 receivers on the Titans roster appear to be set in stone, with D-Hop, Ridley, Burks, Boyd, and NWI are going to make the team. It's the 6th and likely final spot in the receiving core that Sam finds most fascinating. So there's a lot too because of the 63-yard return by Kiaris, the 26-yard punt return by Jaquan. The Jacksons have put themselves directly in the competition. I don't know if they keep 7 receivers, but the receiver position is definitely a position battle. They got some extra juice. So Jack, I will send you to the chat to see what people are answering what is the most intriguing position battle to you right now in camp after the first preseason game?
Blue Man starts off with safety, although I don't think it's much of a battle now that Diggs is on the roster. Eric Castillo says inside linebacker, Chance Campbell, Otis Reese, and some guys stepped up in the preseason opener. RB3, that's absolutely a battle, Rashid, between Julius Chestnut and Hassan Haskins. Right guard, Dylan Radins kind of stepped up now that Sadiq Charles has retired, but absolutely still some things to figure out right there. Middle linebacker, a right tackle. The second edge spot behind Arden Key. He's going to be gone for his first 6 games. Who's going to step up and fill that spot? The linebacker battles, edge, right guard, tight end, Josh Wiley versus Chigakonkwo. We see them listed as co-starters on the unofficial Titans Week 2 depth chart, just like we did in the first week. Interior D-line, long snapper. Okay, Morgan Cox figures probably have that locked up, but if that's your cup of tea, then I'm not going to get in the way of that. I'm not going to yuck your yum. Wide receiver, punt return. Linebackers, we're soft. Okay. We've got edge, left guard Skoronski's. That's not going to be a battle. Edge, right guard, or right tackle. Okay, Steven says right guard. Kicker, Nick Folk missed a kick in the preseason, but he did have a great year last year. Chance Campbell at the inside linebacker spot went off. Ole Miss, White Patrick Willis. Inside linebacker, right side of the offensive line, kickoff returner. JR thinks we're keeping 7 receivers. Yuri says it's the number 6 wide receiver spot and right tackle. Inside linebacker is probably the most popular answer right now, though, in the chat, with right tackle, right guard kind of coming up as that second most popular answer in the chat here. Austin, this time last week, maybe a week and a half ago, I would have told you that right guard's absolutely the most fascinating position battle to watch for me. But Sadiq Charles, at 25 years old, decided to hang it up, walk away from the game. So now Dylan Radins is really running unopposed for that right guard job. I mean, the guy behind him, help me out with his name, Lachavius Simmons. Is that right?
You nailed it.
Lachavius Simmons, he's only played in like 2 games in his career, hadn't played in the NFL, a snap in the NFL since 2021. So you're not comfortable with your depth there. And it seems like the Titans prefer Brunskill backing up at center rather than right guard, although I'm sure in case of emergency, Brunskill has the flexibility to move back over there. But so right guard's out of the equation for me. I mean, I'm interested in the cornerback spots. Who's going to be CB3? You've got Roger in the slot, but behind a Woozy and Snead, who's going to step up and be CB3? I was very interested in Jarvis Brownlee's play. I thought he played well to start the game. Gabe Judy Lolly, obviously in the mix there as well as a UDFA, although he's got some experience under his belt from a long college career. Austin, the position I'm most interested in, though, because I think it has the biggest impact on this team, is going to be at kick returner. And both returner spots, if I can cheat a little bit. But kick returner especially. I mean, we're watching all these dynamic kick returns in the opening week of the preseason, and it feels like if you've got a returner back there, you're going to have an extra edge. I mean, it matters to have a good returner back there. And what I saw from Kiaris Jackson was a little bit of a taste of what he was giving us last year before he got hurt, right? I mean, he was pretty efficient back there in that role before he went down with a season-ending injury. So I'm excited about him. And that double spin move to open up, really the season for the Titans with the ball was really fun to watch. And he just looks confident. He looks like he's meant to return those kicks. And the same thing at punt returner with Jaquan Jackson. He only fielded 1, but he sliced up the middle for like 26 yards, and he looked like he's been doing this for a while. Like there's no like, I guess hesitation. But for either of these returners, they look comfortable fielding the ball and picking up a handful of yards after it. So like, I think that having a good kick returner is going to be the most valuable. So that's the spot I'm most interested in watching. They have Tajay Sharp as the starting, or Tajay Spears, sorry, as the starting kick returner right now. Can Kiaris Jackson do enough to overtake him, or are they already set on Tajay Spears? I'll be interested to watch how that plays out with the rest of the preseason.
So before I answer mine, I want to expand on yours, because I do think the kick return job is interesting, and they have 2 guys back there. So in the preseason game, both Jacksons, Kiaris and Jaquan, were back deep to return those kickoffs. And if you look at it, Kiaris Jackson returned both on the night that he had a chance to get, and he got 2 for 81 yards, with the longest 63. Pretty nice. So Kiaris Jackson was also deep on those returners. And so there are two starters. And I think, and I heard this from Ramon, Kayla, and Will this morning. Will Bowling brought this up, that last year, Jack, I'm going to quick trivia. Last year, what do you think the percentage of kickoff returns on kickoffs was? Percentage of kick returns on the
NFL?
In the NFL, yeah,
Okay.
last year. Percentage of times a kick was returned after a kickoff.
25%.
Close. 20%. Do you want to guess the percentage of kick returns in week 1 of the preseason with this new rule?
Let's flip it. 80.
Bam. Nailed it. It is literally 20 and 80. I don't know if you cheated, if you knew that, if you read that. You just, man, I'm glad you didn't do the age game yesterday. How old is, who was like that? How old is Tom Hardy, Jack?
Tom Hardy. Oh my God. I wouldn't even know. 57.
I guess 57. It's so wrong though. He's 46. But anyway, so you got the kick return percentages correct. So that's a big jump, right? And so you're talking about several plays of impact that you can make there with the kick return. So kind of a side tangent topic. Is it worth putting Tyjae Spears back there to return kickoffs? My answer to that side question is yes. So I think Tyjae Spears, because he's splitting time with Tony Pollard as a running back, Tyjae is probably one of your best runners with the football in his hands on the team, especially in a play where you have blocking and set up plays like that. I think it is worth it, because if Tyjae Spears, is anybody going to be upset with Tyjae Spears getting 3 to 4 extra carries a game? Probably not. And that's what this is. But immediately I'm seeing Darren says, nope, he doesn't want Tyjae out there. Neither does Michael. Neither does Louis. And so, but I think it is worth Tyjae Spears being out there. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you can get the ball in an explosive guy like Tyjae Spears' hands, you do it as much as you can. And I understand, like, he's going to have a much bigger role on offense than he did last season. But this is why you brought in Tony Pollard. Now, if it was just Tyjae Spears with Julius Chestnut and Hassan Haskins backing him up, no, you don't put him on kick return. But because you have Tony Pollard, you're allowed this luxury. And it is a luxury because there aren't many players like Tyjae Spears. And the Titans drafted him knowing just how explosive he can be, cut on a dime. He just needs a sliver of daylight to make something big happen. And that's what's going to happen on these kick returns. I mean, the team that takes most advantage of these kick returns is probably going to, add an extra win, a win and a half to their record this season. So it's a luxury to have Tyjae Spears back there, and you're allowed to stick him back there and feel comfortable with it because you've got Tony Pollard on offense as well. So look, I'm all for it, but it's also nice to know and feel comfortable with your depth there. Like having a guy like Kiaris Jackson do what he did. And look, we're going to need to see this more consistently if he really wants to take this job from Tyjae Spears, which I'm not even sure if they'll let him. But it's nice to feel comfortable with two options, because if something happens to Tony Pollard, I mean, the guy's not bulletproof. He's already had a leg injury, a significant one, 2 seasons ago. So if something happens to Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears just to step up into, the lead back role in this offense, then you've got a guy in Kiaris Jackson you feel great about back there. So I think the Titans are in a good spot, and they walked into that preseason game with a handful of questions, but I feel really comfortable with some potential solutions that they found at the returner spot.
Right. Update. There will be a Hellman's Will Levis number 8 restock tomorrow morning at 10. So if you missed out, you can get it tomorrow morning. As I see that come through the Twitter. So, so on the flip side of that, with Kiaris Jackson, we're going to have obviously a couple more preseason games to see who the Titans are using as far as the kick returner and the punt returner in these other preseason games, because it was just both the Jacksons that got the opportunity. Mason is listed as the starter for the punt return job on the depth chart. He didn't get a shot. Kyle Phillips might be into play. Traylon Burks, I have watched get kick return reps in practice throughout the entirety of training camp and back in the spring OTA period. So how many different guys are they going to try to rep back there in the new kick return style before week 1? And is it like the same question kind of differently? I think it's worth putting Tajay back there. Is it worth keeping a guy on the active roster because he is a real true weapon on this new kick return? Because if Kyaris Jackson, I'm not going to say every return is going to be 63 yards, but if he averages 30 to 20, 25 to 30 yards a return, and your average field position is the 35-yard line when he's returning kicks, is that worth keeping him on the roster if that's his only role? Because that's a free first down.
Mm-hmm. And it's ultimately going to be the tiebreaker. Like all of these guys jockeying for that 6 wide receiver spot. You've got Jaquan Jackson, Kyaris Jackson, Kyle Phillips. You can throw Mason Kinsey in there if you want. All of these guys have experience returning, whether punts or kickoffs. They've got experience in the return game. And so I think the player that proves most valuable on special teams is going to separate themselves because look, let's face it, like none of these guys are world beaters at the wide receiver spot. And, with all of them kind of jumbled up there, the ultimate tiebreaker is going to be how effective you are in the return game. And right now, Kyaris Jackson has an edge. Jaquan Jackson has an edge. It doesn't mean they're going to get every single opportunity in the return game from here on out in the preseason. But, Kyle Phillips, Mason Kinsey, they'll have opportunities, I imagine, as well that they're going to have to take advantage of. But, I mean, those guys, they're off to a good start. I would say that they've got a leg up on the competition right now because of how comfortable they looked returning kicks last week.
For sure, because Daniel says going to keep 7 receivers. And like I mentioned that to Sam yesterday, and he shook his head. He's like, there's no way they keep both Jacksons. Like you may be keeping one of them, because if you keep both of them, then you're keeping 7 receivers there. Like Sam mentioned in that graphic of the top 5 receivers are locked. Because guess who made a key block on the Kyaris Jackson kick return? NWI. Yeah. And so I think that's very important to keep in mind. And I think the kick return battle will have a domino effect across the roster. Will one of these other running back to get a shot? Will Julius Chestnut, who's returned kicks, or Hassan Haskins, who's returned kicks in his NFL career, short career so far for both of them, but they have done it before. Will they have a chance to do it in a preseason game because those guys are more physical? And I don't know what you think about Hassan Haskins, but the guy looks a lot faster than what he was as a rookie a couple years ago. So I do think the kick return job is very interesting overall. So other position battles that are fascinating. Jack, what was your official answer? Was it the kick return jobs?
It was a returner spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So you come up, Sam also had running back. Titans need a tough physical runner. They can also contribute on special teams behind Tajay and Tony on the depth chart. It's going to come down likely to Julius Chestnut and Hassan Haskins. We just talked about that. And another one from Sam is Kenneth Murray and Jack Gibbons are relatively locked into the starting job there, but who is behind them at inside linebacker? And I think because of the injuries that have occurred to Wallow, who is out for the year with a torn pec, you see Gifford is now in concussion protocol. We talked a lot about Chance Campbell yesterday, so I think that's definitely one to watch. But Jack, my official answer is what I think is going to affect the team the most. And that is the cornerback depth. And you've kind of already hit on it. Mm-hmm. Is Trey Avery going to make the football team? That is a big question. Can somebody beat out Trey Avery for a roster spot? I think Jarvis Brownlee has already beat out Trey Avery for the 3rd outside corner position. But can somebody else emerge to beat out Trey Avery? Because he's not good. Like we know this. We know Trey Avery is what he is. They need somebody else to step up, because I think to go along with Snead, Cheeto, and Roger, I really like Jarvis Brownlee, who is the 5th corner that's on the roster. And is it Trey Avery, or is it a guy like Gabe Jeudy-Lally, who didn't have a great night the other night, played a lot of snaps. He played the most snaps of any defensive back, but didn't have a great night. Or is it going to be Trey Avery by default? So I think that is what I'm most interested in, because you have to play a bunch of corners. And I'm worried about the corner depth, especially when both the top guys, one guy in Cheeto is hurt. The other guy in Snead is being managed for life with his chronic knee something, whatever it is. And so I'm really curious to see if somebody can unseat Trey Avery, because right now he's a starter. And Daniel asked the question, Tay Gowan? It's not going to be Tay Gowan. It's not going to be Tay Gowan because there is one man who gets cursed out in practice for holding and cannot stop putting his hands on receivers, and that would be Tay Gowan. So that's kind of what I'm most interested in overall when it comes to the position battles is who can beat out Trey Avery, or does he survive another year?
Oh man. Yeah.
And Karen says, I hope Brownlee beats out Avery too. I think that's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it feels like they prioritize him over.
Yes. I think it's if either Cheeto or Snead practices and one doesn't, Brownlee's taking those reps over Trey Avery. I think that's what they would prefer to do.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because Trey Avery, like you can't just kind of slip through the cracks again, right? Trey Avery has to stand out in training camp, whether it's joint practices this week, whether it's a preseason game. He's got to stand out and do something because there are younger guys who might have more upside battling for that spot, battling for that fifth cornerback spot with Trey Avery. And look, we saw him in action. Like we all know how bad it looked last year. In a new defense, can he find something? I'm not so sure he can. And like the fact that Gabe Judy-Lally is competing with Trey Avery for the spot. I talked to a guy at Vandy, and when Gabe Judy-Lally was there, and we had lunch recently, and he was telling me he's surprised that Gabe Judy-Lally has even garnered any type of buzz in the NFL because he just, the talent wasn't always there in college. Like it's surprising to see him make this jump to now be competing for a roster spot on a team, is what my guy told me. And that is not encouraging when you're talking about Trey Avery. If you're talking about a guy who a lot of people, who've coached him before are like, oh man, really NFL, huh? Like he's going to make the team. They're kind of, 1 foot in, 1 foot out on him. It speaks more to me about what the Titans believe in Trey Avery. And look, Titans fans, you see it in the chat right now. Nobody's really high on Trey Avery. Trey Avery wouldn't make most college teams. Avery's gone. Anybody but Avery. Avery's terrible. Like we all know what Titans fans think about Avery in the chat. But me personally, I'd like to see one of these younger guys come up and take that spot because maybe you can get more out of him. Maybe it's not this year, but next year. Trey Avery's kind of just been the status quo, which hasn't been good for the Titans in the secondary over the last couple seasons. So I'm ready for them to make a move. I'm ready for them to move on and get a little younger at that position, if anything.
So Gabe Judy-Lally, last season, he played 3 seasons at Vandy. So we have to remember the path that Gabe Judy-Lally, the Vandy Vol, took. He had to stop in between, but 3 years at Vandy, he played in 4 games, 7 games, and 12 games at Vandy. So all 12. Didn't make a bowl game in 2021, Jack. Sorry about that. But then he went and played at BYU for 1 year and played 13 games, all 13 games, and then ended his last season at Tennessee playing in all 13 games and played much better. He was the Vols' second best corner on that team. So, for seeing him at Vandy, that's 3 seasons ago. So it seems like he's been able to grow and develop over the 3 years since he's been at Vanderbilt. So, but yeah, I'm fascinated by that. So, all right, let's go ahead and get to another topic here on the day. Do a little stock up and stock down. We'll split them up and start with stock up. Which Titans players improved their stock the most in the first preseason game? Which Titans players improved their stock the most in that first preseason game? But first, let me tell you guys all about our friends at Farm Bureau Health Plans. If you're looking to improve your health plan, stock up on that. How about you go to fbhp.com/ATOZ and save money, but get better coverage in the process. That is with Farm Bureau Health Plans, fbhp.com/ATOZ. They have served Tennesseans for 78 years across the state and will be able to help you out with your health, your dental, your vision coverage with lower rates and better coverage, whether it's deductible or whatever else you need baked in there, regardless of your situation. They can help you out when it comes to your situation, whether you are an independent contractor, entrepreneur, and you got to really kind of scratch and claw for the health coverage out there on your own, or maybe you have a young growing family that you want to make sure has that right safety net. Farm Bureau Health Plans is there for you to get a custom coverage for your spot. So check them out online. Once again, our link is fbhp.com/ATOZ.
BetMGM.com. Look, use our bonus code A to Z Sports, new users, when you download this. I know all of you guys are going to be getting some skin in the game during this football season. So do it with BetMGM. Use our bonus code A to Z Sports and get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. Plug in those win total bets right now. Whether you're up on Tennessee or down on somebody like Texas, you can put some skin in the game, put your money where your mouth is on BetMGM. But make sure when you sign up, you use our bonus code A to Z Sports to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses.
All right, Jack. So stock up. Which Titans player improved their stock most in the preseason game over the Niners? I will send you to the chat. Make sure you like the show. Like the show. If you like or don't like Will Levis's new cologne, like the show. And so once again, Cap says Sam's no run first inning bet hit again. Yeah, Sam's at 5 in a row. 5 in a row. Hot. So, all right, Jack, what are you seeing from stock up the most?
Patricia starts us off with my guy Chance Campbell, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. from Rooney, Chance Campbell, of course. Brownlee, Chance Campbell, and James Williams. James Williams kind of looked the part in his snaps out there. Chance Campbell, the returners. Campbell and Brownlee, Campbell and Sweat. Sweat did not really jump off the page to me, Austin. He dealt with some double teams, but Brian Callahan said it might have been nerves related, but I'd like to see more out of Sweat moving forward. NPF, Coburn, Campbell, Keandre Coburn, Chance the Baller. Caleb Farley was not out there, so I don't know how he impressed you. Chance and JC, tight end number 88.
David Martin Robinson, DMR.
Okay, DMR. Chance Campbell and Kiaris. Jalen Harrell and Chance Campbell. Okay, look, Chance Campbell's running away with this thing. NPF's getting some answers. Caleb Murphy, the Jacksons, James Williams, all fine answers. To me, it's Chance Campbell. I mean, this is the easiest answer of all time. Chance Campbell's my first stock up guy. And, he led the Titans in tackles. He had a sack. He had a TFL. He had a game-sealing interception. He did it all. And, I like the returner spot. Headed into this game with a lot of questions at linebacker. Obviously, I'm still skeptical on what Gibbons and Murray can do as starters. Murray blasted through the hole in the first play of the game, though, and really made an impact on that throw by I forget who the Niners quarterback was at the time. But Chance Campbell is everywhere. I mean, it wasn't just like you're not being a box score warrior pulling up. Wow, Chance Campbell, 9 tackles. Really, it's like, oh my God, yeah. Like I remember every single one of his tackles. He can do it. He can do a little bit of everything back there, and to have a guy like that behind Gibbons or Murray, whichever one has issues or whatever. It's a 17-game season. Linebackers take beatings, but to have Chance Campbell back there and to prove that he can do it when he steps in like that against the Niners, I mean, it gives you that much more confidence if you're Denard Wilson. Because if you don't have depth behind an iffy group of starters, then you're in some serious trouble. But Chance Campbell, this dude's a guy that missed 10 games last year with an injury and missed his entire rookie season with one. So for him to finally, be healthy, have some momentum in training camp, it's fascinating what he can do. And he we saw flashes of this at Ole Miss, but Chance Campbell's a guy that I'm really high on. So he's my first stock up guy. Another guy, I'm going to go back to Ole Miss, Otis Reese. I mean, Otis Reese, another guy, him and Chance Campbell out there together, looked like they'd been playing together for a while. Otis Reese made some stops, and even behind Chance Campbell, if Otis Reese, earns that 4th spot now that Wallow's out with a torn pec.
Well, don't forget Cedric Gray, right? So
Cedric Gray didn't play on Saturday. It was a
so
short
it's Kenneth Murray, Jack Gibbons. Jack Gibbons is gonna make the team, whether he's the starter or not. He's gonna make the team. Then you've got Cedric Gray, your 4th round pick. And so, do you keep 5 inside linebackers? I think you keep 4.
Okay. Well, look, Otis Reese did a hell of a job auditioning. If somebody else wants to scoop him up, but Otis Reese and Chance Campbell are my 2 guys that I believe boosted their stocks on Saturday. I thought they both played great.
Those are good answers. I'll start with the first one that I have, and Billy brings it up. And I knew Chance Campbell was going to be a popular answer, so I wanted to go a little bit different. Tried to have Jack and I have different players on this, but Billy Jones says NPF, starting right tackle, more important position, and nobody knew what to expect. I think stock up NPF. And it was only 14 snaps, but I think Nicholas Petit-Frere did a good job at right tackle. And I think that's very important, as Billy states. So I think the other guy that I'm going to say stock up with is somebody who is a starter that maybe it's just even more stock up because we got to see it and everybody got to watch it. Tony Pollard stock up. Tony Pollard looked good, didn't he? Like, didn't Tony Pollard look fresh? He looked fast, quick. He had some power, some strength behind him. He caught passes. He ran the football well. Back-to-back carries of 8 and 24. Tony Pollard, big stock up. I am so fascinated. And that's, again, why I really like the idea of Tyjae Spears returning kicks, because I think Tyjae is probably one of the best guys you have to do that on the roster. And you have Tony Pollard, who is clearly going to be a weapon here and going to be used so many different ways. So I am big stock up on Nicholas Petit-Frere as a right tackle and Tony Pollard as a very important weapon on this offense for Will Levis and company.
Yeah, Tony Pollard's exciting, man. And I mean, it wasn't just what we saw on Saturday. Like, we saw him make that 70-yard catch down the sidelines from Will Levis in training camp, that video that went locally viral. I'm excited about what he can do in the passing game. And, like, obviously the Titans are going to have to run the football at some point. But I think they can do that with just Tyjae Spears. Look, Tyjae Spears can help balance things out with Tony Pollard as well. A little deception in the backfield. You never really know what's coming. And that's not something the Titans have really been used to on offense. Like, every time Derrick Henry's out there, okay, probably a run here. But with Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard, whether they're out there by themselves or together, you have no idea what's coming. And I think that that's going to open things up in the run game alone. But what he can do catching the football is absolutely exciting and is a big reason why I think Will Levis is going to become the first Tennessee Titan to throw for 4,000 yards in a single season. I think Tony Pollard has a chance to catch 500-600 yards out of the backfield this season.
It's going to be, I mean, I don't know. Would we say the combined yards from scrimmage, we're looking for 2,400? Is that kind of we're looking for both Tony and Tyjae combined? Relatively healthy and all. Like, I think that's doable for these two guys. And I think just the versatility. And so maybe I'll say stock up in a different way. How about this? Stock up Titans running back usage. Because throw
it under an umbrella.
Right? But what am I comparing it to? I'm comparing it to Derrick Henry. But I'm saying Titans stock up is how they're using their running backs, because now it is unpredictable. You might not have been able to stop the predictable Derrick Henry, but I think with the 1-2 punch that they have with running inside, outside, lining them up out of the backfield, running routes out of the backfield, there's so many different ways to take advantage of defenses with the running back position. So stock up Titans running back usage over Derrick Henry. I truly feel like this is going to be a better productive running back group than what we've had from Derrick Henry the last couple of years. Now, knock on wood, the offensive line's also better too. So nothing against the King Henry, because he was nearly unstoppable at times, and Daniel throws it out there, going to cut the stack boxes in half. Yes. So you're just making offense easier. It's no more of like Mike Vrabel offenses are like the guy who says, you know what? I like pain. I like to feel pain. Like, why, dude? If you cannot feel pain, then do that. But it was like a pain on purpose type of deal. This is going to be ease. It's going to be ease because you've got unpredictable running back usage. So stock up on Titans running backs.
Love that. And, I think a big part of that is too what we saw on the left side of the offensive line. I mean, Brian Baldinger's already made a video about how good J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski looked playing together. So, even they're honorable mention for me, probably more so because they didn't play enough snaps in order for me to have a really strong take. But J.C. Latham, man, I mean, this is a guy who switched positions. He hadn't played left tackle since high school. He practiced at it a little bit at Alabama, but in a game, he has not played left tackle since high school. And he went out there and looked every bit of a first rounder on Saturday in his first action against the Niners team that's going to throw you different looks on defense. Yeah,
without a doubt. Here's a just factually inaccurate but confidently said comment. Dirk Money's swaggle fly says, Warren Moon and Steve McNair throwing 4,000 yards before. What are you talking about? Laughing emojis. How about 6 laughing emojis? How about wrong? Steve McNair did not throw for 4,000 yards in his career in a season. Didn't even come
It
close.
also said
to be
Tennessee
honest.
Titans, so that
Yes,
throws
and
Warren
Warren Moon
out
did
the
it for other franchises and the Oilers, not the Titans. So Dirk Money Swag Fly 2 is 0 for 2 on that comment overall. So you got to listen to what Jack is saying. And also, come on, dude. Like, Steve McNair threw for 4,000 yards. No, Steve McNair's career high for passing yards in a season is 3,387. So he is a clear 600 yards away from that 4,000 yard mark. And that was in 2002, where he actually played in all 16 games. So, all right, Jack, let's flip
Loud
it
and
around.
wrong.
Yeah, wrong. All right, let's flip it around and go stock down, because I've got a stock down player too. Which Titans player had their stock go down the most in preseason game 1? I've got my answer locked and loaded. I'm sure you guys do too. But first, Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn for all of your injury needs. boneandjointtn.org. You get hurt in life, it happens, right? You step wrong. You have an old injury that comes back years later. Maybe you have a son or daughter who gets hurt playing youth sports. You hope not, but it happens in sports. You have to know where to turn. That's the Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org in Franklin. Go to the website, click the book an appointment button, and all you have to do is type in your name, the injury that you have, and it automatically sorts the experts that deal with those type of injuries with that part of the body, and then you get to pick what fits your calendar and your schedule the best. So everything is under one roof, all the experts and the resources right there in Franklin off of I-65 and Highway 96 next to Williamson Medical Center, boneandjointtn.org.
BetMGM.com, bonus code A to Z Sports, new users. When you sign up on BetMGM, plug that bonus code in, and you'll get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet misses. The MLB season's coming, coming to a close here in a couple of months. You can get in some action over there. The White Sox, fading them every day seems to be a good move, although it wasn't yesterday. And then you got the NFL and college football win totals, season-long props, MVP bets, division winner bets, all that stuff's available on BetMGM. And they make it very easy for new users to use. So download the app and use our bonus code ATOZ Sports.
Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, since the only new customer offer. All promotions, qualification, eligibility requirements. First online real money wager. Only rewards issued not bonus bets that expire in 7 days. And for problem games, call Tennessee Redline 800-889-9789. So Jack, I'll send you to the chat here on this one. But also, like King VC says, lock in, like the show, hit the like button on Facebook and on YouTube. Like the show here today. But Jack, stock down. Who is most stocked down in the chat today?
First team defense from MB. And I'm not going to lie, I was disappointed too. I mean, we've had all these months to build up. We have all these new faces coming in, and the first team defense gets absolutely carved through. I get it. Half their starters weren't in, but still, like I wanted to see them look a little tougher against a backup quarterback in San Francisco. So I agree with MB. First team defense needs to come out stronger in game 2. Latham has much work to do, says Mr. Robinson. Trey Avery, Jack Gibbons, Malik Willis, Radens, Chestnut, SJD. We've got Nick Folk missed a kick. Trey Avery, Malik Willis, Folk, more Willis, Jalen Harrell, a 7th-round pick, stock down. I don't know. Malik Willis, Mason Rudolph, Trey Avery, Rashad Weaver, Traylon Burks, Malik Willis, and Nick Folk. Avery, Chestnut, Haskins, and Small. So all 3 of the running backs competing for that third job right there, and Trey Avery. Malik and Sweat, I agree with Sweat, man. Malik Willis, stock down, Trey Avery, Rudolph. Hate to say it, but Sweat.
I don't think you can say Willis. Stock down for Tavondre Sweat. Like, he played 12 snaps. Like, you're not going to, like, it's so easy to be a defensive lineman and play fine and just not do anything in 12 plays.
Oh, I kind of disagree with you because, I mean, you're a 2nd-round draft pick and you're a high 2nd-round draft pick. The expectations, surrounding you coming out of college when you were drafted are high. I mean, let's face it. The guy won the Outland Trophy last year. Even if he's only playing in 12 snaps, I want to see him once. I want to see him make a difference one time. And I just felt like he lost just about all of his reps in there, which was disappointing. Look, Callahan said it was nerves, whatever. And, he's not going to look like a superhuman in his first preseason game. I'm not too beat up about it, but I just wanted to see more. I wanted to see more out of Tavondre Sweat. I feel like we didn't get it.
I mean, you can say you want to see more, but also not think he's stocked down. Like, again, we're talking about who whose stock dropped the most? It is not T'Vondre Sweat. When we're asking the question of which Titans player had their stock drop most in the game, T'Vondre Sweat is impossible to be the answer.
The answer for me is Trey Avery, and it's not necessarily what he did when he was in the game, but it's the fact that we started the show talking about Jarvis Brownlee, Gabe Jeudy-Lally. Trey Avery should not be giving up his spot to these two rookies, one of them being a UDFA, but it looks like they both could overtake him. So for Trey Avery to go out there and play, and look, this is a big preseason for him here. If he can stand out, which he's had a tough time doing ever since he was here, in a positive light at least, then he's got a shot. And Titans fans can maybe feel semi-optimistic, although I don't think they ever will, knowing what Trey Avery's already put on tape as a Titan. But I just think the fact that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Gabe Jeudy-Lally are getting a lot of buzz and are making plays when they're out there, that in turn turns Trey Avery's stock in the wrong direction. So Trey Avery is my big stock down guy, just because it feels like there's a couple guys getting ready to lap him.
Fair. Yeah, I think Trey Avery is a good stock down player. So my answer for stock down player is Kyle Phillips. And Kyle Phillips may have not fielded a punt in the game, but he definitely did in pregame warm-ups. That's not good. I'll play one more time.
Is it fair, though, to hold that against him in warm-up?
Yes. Catch the ball. Catch the ball. Catch it. Catch it. There's no, catch the ball.
But if he comes out there next week and he catches the ball during the game.
And here's the thing. That was from Sam. He texted our chat and he said that's the second in a row. Catch the ball. MB says, come on, Austin, that's a stretch. No, catch the ball. And that's not the only thing that has me stocked down for Kyle Phillips. I think he's cut because I don't think he's going to be as good as either of the Jackson guys that we saw returning punt or kicks. I don't think he's going to be able to make a roster spot as a receiver. I've said most of this camp that I think Kyle Phillips might be the sixth best receiver on the team. I don't know, though. I think Mason Kinsey might be getting there, legitimately. I think Mason Kinsey might be becoming more effective as a receiver. And so everybody who wants to be like, oh, he's warming up, catch the punt. Kyle Phillips doesn't get any grace for dropping a punt. You know who does is Kearis Jackson or Jaquan Jackson. They get grace for dropping a punt in warmups. Because you know why? Because they haven't dropped 3 in an NFL regular season game that hurt the football team. So catch the punt. And it's more than that. It's not about, because I do know this. Kyle Phillips and Craig Aukerman, Craig Aukerman was not doing a good job on how to teach guys how to field punts. It was an epidemic for 5 years that Craig Aukerman was the special teams coach of guys not being able to catch punts. But catch the damn ball. If it's kicked to you, catch it. That's the first job. I don't care if it's warm-ups. I don't care if you're in the stadium. I don't care if it's your high school football field or at the park near Belmont. Catch the ball when it is punted to you. And Kyle Phillips can't seem to do that consistently. And so he's not making the team, in my opinion.
I just think that we had an entire game to react to, and we're taking a clip from warm-up.
It's also it's the opportunity that he didn't get. And here's what I don't know this, but I do know. I know this. I know Kyle Phillips dropped 2 punts in warm-ups right there. I don't know what the plan was. Was the plan for the coaches to maybe get him a punt return rep? Maybe. But maybe they watched him drop 2 in warm-ups and said, nope, not doing it. Let's give it to Kearis and Jaquan. That might be it. But again, Jared, we talk about practice, but I've also seen Kyle Phillips drop multiple punts in games before. And so
don't get me wrong. He needs to become more consistent in that department. And Louis,
catch the ball.
I forget where his comment went, says it's a mental thing. And I totally agree with Louis.
Yeah.
Kyle Phillips is not incapable of fielding punts, but just with the drops he's had during live games, I'm sure there's some doubt that's in his mind. He needs a big return or something to break that mental streak he's got going.
here's why I'm stocked down on Kyle Phillips. Randy says that's a stretch, Austin, so he won't field punts. Okay, so what's he going to do? So what's Kyle Phillips going to do?
Yeah,
If he
look, the
can't
sixth
catch
receiver
punts,
has to do it.
what's he going to do? He's not covering kicks. He's 5'10", 185 pounds. He's not covering kicks or making tackles. He's not going to block for anybody. He's not NWI out there making a block on a linebacker to spring a return from a teammate. He's not your starting slot. That's Tyler Boyd. He's not your backup slot. I think that goes to DeAndre Hopkins over Kyle Phillips. So if he's not fielding punts, Randy, then what's Kyle Phillips going to do on the team?
Mm-hmm. Your wide receiver 6 has to contribute on special teams
so he's
one
cut.
way or another.
So he's cut. So Kyle Phillips is not going to make it because there are way more reliable options on this roster right now than Kyle Phillips.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Since you're so sold on Kyle Phillips being cut, what must he do in order to make the team? Is there anything he can do?
There's zero wiggle room. He has to catch every punt in practice and warm-ups and everything. He has to be spot on. He has to be healthy, which is, it seems like you have to say, oh yeah, health, right? No, he has to stay healthy because he also got hurt last preseason fielding a punt too. That had him on miss a few weeks, right? And he's been hurt the year before that. So he's got to be healthy. He has to catch every punt that comes his way. And he has to maybe prove that he can block somebody on a kick return for a teammate. Maybe prove that he can go down there and make a tackle on special teams. I don't know. I just don't think there's anything for him to do on this team if he can't catch punts.
No, you're not wrong. You're not going to have a wide receiver 6 who can only play on offense, right? That guy has to give you something on special teams, and that's going to be the tiebreaker for that spot. Like all these guys, Mason Kinsey, Kiaris Jackson, Jaquan Jackson, at some point or another have proved they can at least field a punt or a kick. And Kyle Phillips still has to check that box. Now, with a big return in next week's or this week's game, maybe that changes how we feel a little bit. But right now, Kyle Phillips absolutely is the underdog for that wide receiver 6 spot. And until he proves that he can be a value on special teams, then, it's really not much of a question. Kyle Phillips does not belong on this roster until he can make himself valuable as probably a punt returner. I don't see him getting the kick returner job. It's going to have to be through punt returns.
Yeah, this isn't a college roster where you can just keep a guy for 3 years to let him develop. No, it's the NFL. You get 53 guys and you get 48 on game day. And if he's your 6th best receiver and he can't catch punts or do anything else on special teams, you'll hear Brian Callahan and them start to talk about core team guys, or that means you play on all 4 units. That means you're on kick coverage, kick return, punt coverage, punt return. Kyle Phillips isn't doing that unless he's the return guy. And I don't think you can trust him as a return guy because you at least have better options that we saw Saturday night. And so I think he's the most stocked down of the people that came out of that game for me.
He's got to have a flawless preseason, really, truly a flawless preseason to grab that 6th spot. I'm not ruling him out like you are. I think there's still a chance for him because I don't know that Kiaris Jackson, outside of his return abilities, offers you a whole lot at the wide receiver spot. Jaquan Jackson, I'm not so sure there either. But, Kyle Phillips, there's no more room for error. You're exactly right. No more wiggle room. So he's got to have a flawless remainder of the preseason in punt returning, in just simple wide receiver snaps, all this stuff. So he's got a mountain to climb, but I'm not ruling him out just yet.
I will say the only way he makes the team, and I don't even know if I believe this, but the only way he makes the team is if they keep 7 receivers. If they keep 6, then he's not one of the 6. Now, Randy says
you truly think Mason Kinsey would be kept over Kyle Phillips if camp ended today?
If camp ended today, yeah. I think Kyle Phillips would not be on the 6-man receiver group if camp ended today. Now it doesn't.
Let's dive a little deeper. So who would get that 6th spot if camp ended today?
If it's just 6, I think Jaquan Jackson gets it.
Okay.
Pretty clearly. If it's just 6, if it's 7, I think that's when Kiaris currently has the edge, and I think Mason Kinsey might have the edge over Kyle Phillips too. Now, I did want to go back to Randy's comment because he said, wasn't Phillips listed as the number 2 on the depth chart? Yeah, but that's not the depth chart is not everything, right? Because he is listed as the 2nd slot guy on the depth chart. But that's when they use 3 receivers. Now they're going to use 3 receivers a lot more than they have previously, but still I think if there are 3 receivers on the field, what 3 guys would you rather have on the field before you get to Kyle Phillips? I'd rather obviously have Hopkins, Ridley, and Boyd on the field. Then I'd rather have Hopkins, Ridley, Burks on the field. I'd rather have Boyd, Hopkins, Burks, Ridley, Burks, Hopkins,
Sure.
NWI, Burke, right? You can go through all those different things before I'm putting Kyle Phillips on the field as a receiver, because Hopkins, Boyd, Burks, I think all have slot ability. NWI has slot ability. Now on the depth chart, they're going to be backups on the outside. I think Ridley could have some slot ability because that's just matchups, right? So
it's like the Raiden's designation as the backup center. Like, obviously, he's your second option at right guard, too. You just can't put the same name in 2 places.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said Raidens, but yeah.
Oh, sorry. Brunskill. Yeah.
No, for sure. But like, it's that, because the backup slot's probably DeAndre Hopkins. So I don't think Kyle Phillips is on the team. He's the most stuck down for me. So
Okay.
pretty heated conversation. All right. Like the show, like King VC says, lock in and like the show right there on that super chat. It is now time. You thought I was pretty heated and passionate about that Kyle Phillips dropping punts and warm-ups. Just wait to hear my throwing shade. If you got shade, put it in the chat. Throwing shade time for the first time in a while here on the show here on A to Z Sports. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon. Say hey to Pain Bone Force. If you're looking for a new ride, WilsonCountyHyundai.com will help you get in the right car for the right price. Save money in Lebanon. WilsonCountyHyundai.com. If you have shade to throw it now. I guess I haven't done shade in a while. You guys did shade last week, but I was off Tuesday. So it's been a while since I've had shade. So Jack, do you have any shade as we wait for some of these chat comments to come through?
I have some shade, but Austin, I'm worried about giving my shade first, putting you on ice while you're so hot. Okay. I kind of want to let you lead this.
You want me to go? All right, I'll go. My shade is on the Olympic Committee who took away Jordan Childs' bronze medal. Absolutely absurd, ridiculous, blasphemy, stupid, just flat out wrong to take away Jordan Childs' bronze medal. So if you're unaware, this was last Monday, so 2 Mondays ago, the last event of the women's gymnastics individuals was the floor routine. Jordan Childs, I thought, did a phenomenal job with her floor routine, and she was right behind the Romanian girl who did a floor routine. And then you have this thing called an inquiry. The inquiry, you're allowed to submit an inquiry for the score. They did that, and then the judges corrected Jordan Childs' score. So how this works, because I've learned from my wife who did gymnastics growing up, so she's helped me kind of understand this. They are not judging Jordan Childs versus the Romanian gymnast. It's not one versus the other. It is Jordan Childs' performance against her routine. And you submit a difficulty score, and you submit a routine to the judges. And so you are judged on how you execute said routine that you submit. Has nothing to do with the Romanian gymnast. So Jordan Childs' inquiry was that her team, her coaches and her thought the judges did not give her proper credit on the score for a move that she did in the routine. So they submit the inquiry and the judges go back and they say, oh, they're correct. She gets an extra 1/10 of a point. That was enough to put her above the Romanian to give Jordan Childs the bronze. That happened on Monday. That happened in live time. That happened before they even cut to commercial or anything. Jordan Childs got bronze after the inquiry. 5 days later, the Olympic Committee comes back and says that inquiry was 4 seconds late. That if you're the last gymnast to go on that event, you only have 1 minute to submit an inquiry. And Jordan Childs' coach did it in 1 minute and 4 seconds. Oh, 1 minute and 4 seconds is all that it took. If you are not the last gymnast, if you are gymnast number 1 through 7 of the 8, you get 4 minutes to submit an inquiry. Make that make sense. And how are you punishing a young woman for being 4 seconds late when you make that decision 5 days later. Absurd. If it took her a minute and 4 seconds to go submit that inquiry, then you should have done it the next hour, not 5 days later. It's ridiculous. It's just, there's a lot of words I want to say, but it is cruel for Jordan Childs to go 5 days with the bronze medal around her neck. She had it for 5 days around her neck, her first individual medal in the Olympic Games, and they took it away from her 5 days later. Stupid.
You're exactly right. Terrible for Jordan Childs. Let's get to some of the comments here. That was a great shade, by the way. I think the chat's totally on your side here, as am I. Nick Ewing says, shade on 3HL for having Austin on the show after having Ice Cube on. Big Three was in town on Sunday.
On a Friday. I had to follow Cube on a Friday. Just not fair for me.
All right. Cube was the appetizer. You were the entree.
That's usually how that goes.
We've got shade on the repetitive paperwork I'd fill out every year for my kids. Took me 2 hours last night to do it all. Well, I'm glad that's behind you, IR Hoshi. Let's see. Shade on all this rain. Shade on Madden. Made the Titans look slow. Titans Madden grades aren't great. They're not great. Let's see. Shade on Verizon for activating the NFL Sunday ticket package yesterday after switching my home internet to Verizon. Okay. Jabu's prepared for the season.
Timeout. Daniel, boo-hoo. Jordan Childs has a gold medal already. Yeah, she was a part of.
Who cares?
She was a part of the team gold. Absolutely. And that's great. And she has that. But you're telling me, Daniel, that you wouldn't be pissed if you were third best in the world at something on your own? You wouldn't be pissed, Daniel? Come on, boo-hoo.
Yeah, that's a loser mentality comment. Like, one gold medal is not enough for USA gymnasts. I'm sorry. They're better than that.
Individual thing. Anybody, if you're Jordan Childs, would be heartbroken by this.
Josh says, shade on Charles Davis, dropped the ball hard, then laughed about completely forgetting a player's name. I love Charles Davis. I don't know what he's referring to here, but Charles Davis, Uncle Charles Davis to the Tighten Up Pod listeners, is one of my favorites in the game. So I'm not sure. Joshua, follow up with us so I can figure out.
I kind of vaguely remember that, but I don't remember. I don't remember the name. Now, Daniel comes back and says, I would be pissed if I were the Romanian that had the bronze stolen from first. No, it's not about that. It's not the fact that Jordan Childs' inquiry was incorrect. It was the correct thing to have the inquiry to correct the score. The judges messed up first by not giving her full credit for her difficulty routine. So it's not the Romanian. Like my heart breaks for the Romanian too, because that sucks ass too, because she was celebrating thinking she'd won bronze, had her flag up on the floor, and the people that throw shade at is the Olympics. It's the judges who messed it up the first time and the Olympics for stealing it back from her 5 days later.
I'm staying with the Olympics for my shade, and it sucks because I want to like this guy so bad, but he's making it so tough. Noah Lyles gets my shade. Noah Lyles is the fastest man in the world in the 100. In 200 is his best event. He came in third. He was sick leading up to it. I get it. I'm not even going to shade him for the COVID stuff. Like I probably wouldn't be playing my best either if I was, sick in days leading up to my best event, especially after running and winning a gold in a different one. It's not that. It's that every time he has an opportunity to make a rivalry with the U.S. men's basketball team, he does so. Like he said, he was embarrassed to be invited to Anthony Edwards' shoe reveal or whatever. Like that's childish to me. Like sometimes no response is the best response. You don't have to have a take on everything. And I think being the fastest person in the world in the 100 is the coolest thing of all time. Like if I was an athlete and I could pick one thing to win, it would be the 100-meter dash. So Noah Lyles is a guy that I want to pull for, but every single time he takes shots at the USA men's basketball team. It goes all the way back from him calling, him not willing to call USA men's basketball world champions because the championship was won in the NBA, and that doesn't represent, the other leagues from around the world, even though the NBA is far and away the best league in the world.
He did the same thing with the Super Bowl too.
I just want to like Noah Lyles. He's just making it tough for me to like him. Noah Lyles, you don't have to have a take on everything. Please put this rivalry to bed. I love the men's basketball team. Somebody shaded LeBron for winning the MVP. The MVP went to LeBron for the entire tournament because LeBron was the best player on Team USA for the entire tournament. Curry had a legacy moment. winning that game. If you could give out, obviously, the gold medal MVP would go to Curry, but LeBron, KD, Steph carried that team to gold. It was a really fun tournament. That's what I was most excited to watch. But so that's what makes it hard for me to like Noah Lyles. Like those are my guys. Like this was an awesome team they put together to take to the Olympics, to win gold, to come from behind. So Noah Lyles, just be more likable. I want to like you, please.
How about the controversy we almost had that we'll never really get to experience? What if the U.S. women lose to France at the end and Caitlin Clark's at home?
They were going to win gold no matter what, right?
They won by one.
I know.
The U.S. women basketball team won by 1 point.
It just felt like, I mean, it was a guarantee.
But it was but it came down to a point.
So this is what I'm saying though. Like I get it.
It wasn't a guarantee.
You can win gold and still make a poor decision by leaving Caitlin Clark.
No, but I'm saying, like, what if the shot went in by the French women's team and they won by 1 or 2?
Then they get dragged. They get dragged like nobody's gotten dragged.
The controversy that we almost had that would have been crazy if they lost by 1 basket. 1 shot was the difference of us having nonstop talk about Caitlin Clark being at home and them losing the gold to France rather than winning by 1, and we shushed over it and just kept on going.
All because Caitlin Clark's fans would have been a distraction.
But I think it would have been legit. Like, it would have been a legitimate thing, right? Because
100%.
Yeah. Oh man. It would have, she stepped on the line, or it would have been a 3. Crazy, insane that could have been. So close to having a national controversy with Caitlin Clark again.
I mean, to even play France that close, I think is a failure on the part. Like, you saw a lot of those women after that game, and it didn't look like they were super pumped up. It was obviously a dogfight, and whenever you win gold, you're happy. But like, it was a foregone conclusion that this team was supposed to win gold heading in, and for them to even flirt with disaster, I think was a shortcoming on their part heading into the Olympics. And this is after, remember, the WNBA All-Star team destroyed them. And like, even though it was an exhibition game, you can't tell me that the Team USA, Women's Team USA, did not have a bit of a chip on their shoulder heading into that game. They may not act like it mattered, but with all the controversy and how the roster was built, to then get smoked by the WNBA All-Star game while Caitlin Clark nearly puts up, an All-Star record in assists, like in front of your face. They did not perform as well as I thought they would, and I definitely think this is the last time Caitlin Clark gets left off that roster.
Yeah. Daniel says, meanwhile, the U.S. women's soccer team was incredible.
And they needed to be. There's a lot of questions about that team heading in.
For sure.
But they were flawless.
For sure. All right. Yeah, look, hey, Jacob, if the U.S. women lose, the U.S. also loses the gold medal count to China. That's right, because it's tied. So that they're 1 point away. Could you imagine 1 point away from the U.S. women's basketball team losing with Caitlin Clark at home that would have lost the gold count to China? It would have been crazy. On the last day of the Olympics, it would have been bonkers. So, but it didn't happen. So they won by 1. And that's all that counts. All right, guys, that'll be it for us on this Tuesday wild show here on this day from Mayo to Shade. If you want to throw shade on Mayo Cologne, you can do that. I got 2 bottles coming our way. We'll give one to Jack, and we'll figure out what to do with the other one. Maybe we'll do a giveaway at some point for some Will Levis Cologne. But make sure you hit that like button before you head out of here. Like the show before you go. Great show today. Going to have a great show tomorrow before Titans Seahawks joint practices on Wednesday and Thursday. So make sure you subscribe everywhere there. We appreciate it as always. Buck Rising live tonight on A to Z Sports Primetime. We'll catch you later. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Tighten up pod out at midnight.